I shared my joy, and the people around me took 5 dumps on it for so many years. Just looking back on life overall. And this is something that is not a crusade to go back and captivate audiences. I'm looking back on life and realizing just emotionally and understanding myself that life was just something to realize about, that I took on chapters of my life and understood. And I wasn't hiding or sheltering myself from relationships. I recognized and had the expectation from family that, hey, they told me certain things right away, immediately. Like my family immediately told me, hey, if you're happy, let it, if you're happy with somebody, that's what we want. So the immediate reaction for me is that, oh, great. Then the first thing I want to do is share that with them. I'm happy with Jax. I want that person to know. I want to share that with them. No one's going to put me to the side. No one does. There's no conversation that happens. I want to give you a geography because overall, I'm sure ever since I've been making videos on this channel, whether you watch it on YouTube, whether you're watching on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you're watching, you're probably wondering, what geography are you? Where are you from? Well, I'm from California. And the idea is the West overall is seen a certain way. For myself, I was always shown the identity that, oh, that means that you're looking at everything, that high expectation of, you're accepted, everything like that. Well, that's really growing up and seeing things as I was shown. I recognized that on my own, by myself. I had to learn that by myself. It wasn't like I built that on my own. It wasn't that I was taught that. I had to build that for myself. Like my personal self-care to actually be positive was built. And and after building that positivity, it came up to just recognizing that most people are just not happy with positivity, because they're not having that positivity on their own. That's okay. They don't have to have that positivity. I'm not having the expectation for them to. And I'm not even, you know, slandering them for that at this second. I'm recognizing that even within my own family, they weren't that. My family was more about arguments, making jokes. If I were to bring it up, I'm looking at Roseanne. I'm looking at the show like Roseanne or something, because pretty much that's what they were. If I were to bring up a show that recognizes how my family was, Roseanne is pretty much takes the cake. And there was a scene in that show that pretty much steals the show. I remember an episode where Dan had to deal with his mom going into a mental institution, and Roseanne pretty much had dealt with it with Darlene, and the two of them, made jokes about it. Dan walks in and deals with it seriously. That would be me. And Darlene and Roseanne was pretty much the rest of the family. Yeah, I'm not them. I'm pretty much the person that deals with it emotionally, seriously, and they're like, why are you such a party pooper? But the reality is, no one ever sets me to the side, talks to me about it, because they don't have the conversation. And the business minded things about it, they don't deal with that shit. They deal with it on their own, but they don't talk about it openly. if there's any money involved, they deal with that shit on their own. Even if it's something we all have to deal with it together, it's isolated. I don't like that. Pretty much it's saying that we're not going to talk about it directly, but we still have to deal with it directly because we're a fucking family. So they're fucking assholes. And that's friendships too. It came off that way. Even if it's something alliterated together, we don't deal with it together. So pretty much all these so-called friendships and family things for so many years, and today and tomorrow and next day and next day and next day and next day, the people that supposedly are on the same page are not on the same page because we don't talk about it, whether it's here instinctually or even off to the side and saying, hey, I need to talk to you about something, you know? And that's where it comes to today. The five dumps thing is about what happened with me and Jax. Because I've known Jax as a friendship since 2010. And then I was looking at how everything with Jax, including our friendship, just came up to... I was looking at how our friendship started. Beautiful. It was separate from the family. It was separate from other friendships. It was on its own. It was its own universe. And it wasn't attacked. It wasn't, you know. And the funny thing was, my family, everybody else knew about the friendship, never attacked, and never had any ill words. And all of a sudden, when the introduction of even, not even in the sense of like a relationship, just even a friendship of like, hey, I'm going to hang out with Jax in 2019. And there was all of a sudden this characterization, I remember in 2019, of like, oh, Jax is gonna leave you for a girl. And I was like, wait a minute. Jax is their own person? Do you mean like Jax is going, and this is from my grandmother, you mean Jax is going to, like, since we're just seeing, I'm just going to go see Jax at this time. This is in the afternoon one day, and Jax is going to go see another person at this time. And, you know, I'm just going to go visit Jax at this time and going to go see somebody else. You know, I've done the same thing when I was in the paranormal group with my older brother. And I had left. I went to go see a movie with Jax, and then all of a sudden I had to go with the paranormal investigation. That came up. So it would not behoove me to mean it that way. So to have that kind of thing thrown at me and strung at me is like taking a dump. And then seeing a celebratory award be struck at me. Like bullshit lines by my older brother saying, oh man, I love hearing you saying baby on the phone or babe on the phone. And then being struck at lines like, oh, yeah, Danielle wore goth clothing like Jax does. It's like, wait a minute. Danielle didn't invent goth clothing. That isn't something invented by Danielle. Goth clothing's been around a lot longer than Danielle. Hell with that shit. Basically saying that I straddled the line of trying to get someone like that, like his wife or his girlfriend. Years later, I wasn't looking for the same person. I was looking for somebody on my own with no lining of direction, just like, hey, I want to look for my own identity. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about how I grew up, asking questions, being curious, you know. And I realized that the biggest thing that I remember is just figuring out on my own. I didn't have any perception of like, oh, I remember Jax had asked me a bit earlier in life, like, how did you feel about men and women, and did you feel any certain way? Like, did you feel attraction toward men, attraction toward women? From what I remember, I actually felt greatly toward both, actually. And I think that was because in elementary school, I actually had a great friendship with both. I have very limited friendships on my end. I had a friendship in elementary school with Danny as well, and I remember having a friendship with I forgot the name right now for a moment, but just different people that were very limited, and everybody else was just bullies. It was just like one, two, three friends, and everybody else was just bullies and mean. That's it. And the very limited friendships gave me an idea of like, I can be with anybody, and my family told me this. I just want you to be happy. Mom and grandma told me that. My older brother wasn't in the picture to even give me an inventive idea of that. Later on, he would end up telling me during his relationship with his now wife, saying that, keep that to yourself about his past relationships and everything else. And that just made me shut off to even talk about relationships with him. So overall, and he just kept on dumping on my relationship. Same thing with his wife. When I wanted to celebrate with everybody, and same thing with my friendships. So everybody from my high school days, everybody from my past, all went away because they were just dumping on my relationships. So the idea of like celebratory things came to an end because everybody took a dump on this shit. And it's like, it ain't shit to me. It's shit to you. And it's always been shit to you because you never took me to the side to say something. So that means that you see me as shit. And that's bullshit, because why did you see me as shit and keep me around in your life? That's all I need to say about that. Because that's a bunch that you didn't explain to me about yourself. That's just a waste of time for you.